Well, hello. I'm going to give you a review video for the test over Unit 1, the Industrial Revolution. Now, first thing you need to know when you look at your test is there's going to be broken up into 3 different sections. Section 1 is going to be 20 points. It's going to be fill in the blank. Fill in the blank all comes directly from the notes. So all you need to do to be successful on that is watch every other video in this playlist. You're going to be good to go, okay? It's going to come word for word from that section. The next point is going to be 50 points, okay? It's going to be short answer. Now, short answer is going to be worth 2 points apiece unless otherwise marked or noted on the test. It's going to be some higher order thinking stuff that we've talked about. It's going to be mentioned on the notes as well, or it's also going to come from any of the reading sources that we've talked about in class. Any of those kind of things are going to be fair game for the test, so make sure you kind of are aware of what is going on in that regard. The last portion is going to be worth 30 points, and that's going to be your essay and your outline. The essay in and of itself is going to be worth 20 points. The outline is going to be worth 10 points. Make sure you complete both of those. If you do not complete the outline, but you give me an essay, you're going to lose at least 10 points off the top of your test. So make sure that you follow the instructions, completing the outline as well as the essay. Now, if we move in quickly to the first set of questions, these again are going to come directly from the set of notes, so make sure you understand kind of what are the causes of the Industrial Revolution. Why did it happen in the first place? Okay, make sure you're talking about the importance of machines coming in and replacing the cottage industry of the factory workers and stuff. Why that's happening now? Why are people working in factories? Why are they not working from home anymore? What's beneficial about that? What problems might arise as a result of that? So make sure you can kind of look at what's going on there. You're going to be able to talk a little bit about some economic theory, okay, capitalism and socialism. Make sure you know the difference between those, okay. Capitalism's Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations in 1776, talks about the laissez-faire. Okay, that's an example I gave of the lazy father just lets their kids do whatever they want. Okay, laissez-faire, the government just lets people do really whatever they want, no intervention. That free market, people do what you want to do. Capitalism, the goal behind that is going to be making money and competition being good for the consumer, compared to socialism founded by Karl Marx and Frederick Engels in 1848 with their book, The Communist Manifesto, where they're talking about collective ownership. Okay, everyone owns everything. The goal of that is equality. It's going to be socialism, and then communism is a system of government. It's important to know this one as well. That communism is like socialism, except for everyone owns everything. The government owns everything and controls what you do with that. So it's kind of taking socialism a little bit farther and giving government authority compared to individual authority. Make sure you can know that. Make sure you know the book Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations, 1776. That is incredibly important. You need to know that book, okay? Some of the different inventions I talked about, just be able to explain what they were. Okay, remember the most important invention according to the notes was going to be the steam engine because it was used on so many other things such as the locomotive and the steamboat. I'll be able to talk about that. Be able to explain to me why are canals important, why are boats significant that you can transport stuff with boats at this time period. Why is a railroad so significant? That's going to be a huge portion of your test. Make sure that you can explain why that is, okay? You also need to explain why it's important that things are going to be shifting at this time period. Talk about a little bit about crop rotation and the rebirth of kind of this focus on scientific reason versus just doing stuff because stuff's getting done. Be able to explain that and kind of talk about why that is significant. That's important. Make sure you can talk to me what are factors of production. Okay, why do we have these factors of production? What's important about them and why are they the way they are? Talk about what might drive people to leave the farm and move into the city. What is the goal behind doing this? Remember, life in the city was very, very problematic. Living in these tenements where it's just really not a good place to be living, these small kind of crowded homes people are living in, it's not enjoyable, and there's a higher chance of death living here. You're going to have a lower quality or a higher quality of life potentially. You can make a lot more money, but you're going to live a lot shorter compared to living in the country. So why are people doing this? Now, what are some of the problems with rapid urbanization that we're having at this time period? And what are some possible solutions to those problems? Why do cities develop where cities develop? Why is England the prime location for this industrial revolution happening at this time period? Be able to explain this. Be able to talk a little bit about children and child labor. Why is that a problem? Okay, why would people be wanting to use children to work in a lot of these factories and the mines? And then explain to me also why that's problematic. Why we don't necessarily want to be using this. Talk a little bit about the shift between having stuff made by hand to having stuff made by machine, looking at the significance of that. Okay, it's going to be a lot more efficient and cheaper to be using stuff by machine. Talk about the bad working conditions as well. And then look back at some of those primary sources we talked about. Okay, describe life in the mining town, how it was very problematic. Okay, there wasn't a lot living. It was just not a really safe place to be living, and people were dying. And be able to talk about Sarah's the lady talking about women's ideal rights. Okay, talk about those two things. I believe the two names, can't remember the names off the top of my head, but be able to talk about them. What are those going on there? Okay, so look back at those primary sources I gave you in class and be able to explain them just a little bit better. Looking at the ones, okay, we're going to be talking about kind of the big ones that we talked about. So look at like Samuel Smiles, be able to look at Frederick Ingalls, be able to look at Elizabeth Stanford, and the two women, the different roles of women. What is a woman's job according to Stanford? Okay, how's the best way to help yourself at this time period according to this man? What do Frederick Ingalls and Karl Marx talk about? What does Adam Smith talk about? Be able to explain those kind of things, and you're going to do all right on this quiz, or this test, excuse me. Looking at the end, you're going to have two possible prompts for the essay. You're going to pick one of those. Don't write me two essays. That's not going to help you. Okay, I'm just going to grade the first one and not grade the second one. So don't do that. You also need to make sure the test is finished within the class time period. So it's important that you are here on time. It's important that you pace yourself as well. My recommendation is always start with the essay. It's going to be the point if you're going to lose a section of points. You're going to lose the most of your points at one time on the essay if that's going to happen. So start there, get the essay over and done with, and then if you're rushing at the end, you can just write answers versus trying to rush an essay at the end. That's not going to be very beneficial. If you have any questions, again, feel free to comment down below or get a hold of me. You know how to do that. Otherwise, I wish you the best of luck and see you later.